Now in this video we are going to talk about what are the practical uses of an array. So let's get started. So one of the places where we use array very heavily is dynamic programming. Now in case if you are not sure what is dynamic programming, let me tell you, this is chapter number 15 of this video course. So in case if you are not sure what is dynamic programming, then nothing to worry. We are going to talk about it in chapter number 15, where we will start with very small level, that is what is dynamic programming, why should we learn it, and then we slowly will proceed towards using dynamic programming to solve some of the problems. Now coming back to the current slide, we will give you a very overall idea about what is dynamic programming so that you will be able to understand it better, that why do we need to use an array to solve dynamic programming problems. So the question is, what exactly is dynamic programming? So dynamic programming is basically a technique to solve algorithmic problems whereby we compromise a little on space complexity to achieve a better time complexity. Now what do we mean by that? Now let's say we are given a problem, and the problem is that we are given a string, let's say banana, and we are told to find out the biggest substring of this string, which is a palindrome. Now what is a palindrome? A palindrome is a string which is spelled the same way from both the sides. Now let's say we are given a string Malayalam. So as you can see, if we read it from left hand side to right hand side, it is pronounced as Malayalam, whereas if we read it from right to left, it is still pronounced as Malayalam. So there is no difference. So this kind of strings are called palindromic strings. Now let's come back to our old example, whereby we are given a string called banana and we are told to find out the longest substring, which is a palindrome. So we see that this substring ANA is a palindrome because you read it from left to right or right to left, it is spelled same. But there is another substring which is bigger than this one, and that is ANANA. So our answer is that substring ANANANA is the biggest substring which is palindromic. Now if we use a naive solution, the time complexity of this is order of n cube, whereas the space complexity is order of n. But if we use dynamic programming, then we can reduce the time complexity to order of n square and the space complexity increases to n square. So we see that we have compromised a little on the space complexity a bit, but we have been able to reduce the time complexity from order of n cube to order of n square. Now why we have done that, and is it really helpful, and what is the pros and cons? We will keep all those discussions for dynamic programming chapter. Right now let's not get into all those. So all that we have to understand for this video is, using a 2D array we have been able to reduce the time complexity from n cube to n square using dynamic programming. So this is a very good example of where we use a two-dimensional array. Now let's see one more example where we can use an array. Now hashing is one more area where we use array heavily to implement hash tables. Now if you are not aware of what exactly is hashing, then nothing to worry, we are going to talk about that topic later in our video series. Now to give an idea at a very high level, all that we do in hashing is we take a data or a key from user. Let's say we want to store a string India. So we take this string and we pass this string to a hash function. Hash function basically does some computations on that string and comes up with some hash value, which is nothing but a number. So let's say the hash function returns a hash value of 4. So in that case, we take a hash table which is implemented by array. So here this is our hash table which is implemented using an array. So we take hash value of 4 and go to the 4th cell and insert India over here. Similarly, if we take any other key, let's say USA, and the hash function returns a value of 6, then we store USA in the 6th cell. Now why do we do that and why it is done in this way? We are going to talk about all those things in hashing chapter. So for this video, this is enough to understand that we have a hash table where we store the hash keys, and this hash table is implemented using an array. Fine. So in this video we have learned the practical use of an 2D array as well as practical use of a 1D array. So that is all about array as of now. So with this video we will complete the array chapter. In the next video we are going to start the next topic, that is linked list. So thanks for your time. See you in the next video.